Good Monday morning. Hope you had a great weekend. How was your Halloween? You still have a hangover from all the candy? Feel free to drop in your comments this morning as you are signing on, rushing around to get the kids to school or get yourself to work, or maybe you get a chance to relax at home. And if that's you, great. We look forward to have you being very interactive today. As I mentioned, I hope it was a wonderful weekend. Weather-wise, holy cow, it almost feels like we're going backwards into summer and spring. We'll talk with Beckett more about the forecast for you in just a bit and then see when that colder weather is really going to take hold. We've got news you can use. We've got some really good health news. And then we get into health today on this Medical Monday with Dr. Brooke Kalisiak with Legacy Physical Therapy. We're going to talk more in depth now about those pelvic floor muscles. Now, a lot of you might think, oh, that's for women after they have a baby. You might think you know why people would go to Legacy Physical Therapy. However, it may be you, and you might not even be realizing that those muscles are the ones causing maybe back problems or hip problems or hernia issues. Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about with Dr. Kalisiak coming up in just about 10 minutes. Let's get to our weather, though. It's a segment that we call What the Weather. And again, we're going to talk about the fact that the weather is getting warmer and warmer. Here you go.
Good evening. Good evening from St. Louis, Missouri, and it is a beautiful one.
And this segment, by the way, is brought to you by GradeWorks LLC. You can go to gradeworksmo.com. It's GradeWRXMO.com. We had Mike Vernacey come over the other day. We live on 6 acres, but only about 1.5 acres is what we maintain. The rest is all wooded. And I was like, you know what? I really would love to see a view. So Mike and I are talking about clearing some of that out, leaving some of the woods, but clearing some of that out. So yes, that is something that he can do. Maybe you've got an old shed or some eyesores out there on your property, whether it is personal or maybe it is the commercial property you have. Let the guys at GradeWorks come over, remove that for you. Again, why really truly cause a backache or all your man hours when he's got the equipment to do so? There are excavating things that he can do, grading things he can do. And again, as I said, clear out the brush. GradeWorks LLC, thank you so much for being a part of this segment. All right, let's say good morning to our aspiring meteorologist, Beckett Moore. How was your weekend?
It was great. How was yours?
It was fantastic. We went out to dinner and then went out to a new speakeasy. I just put a reel together last night, a very cool new place that opened up, kind of a soft opening. It's called Prohibition STL. You all need to go to that, by the way. Check out my reel. It's very, very cool. What did you do for Halloween?
Not much. This was the first Halloween I really didn't trick or treat at all. So it was kind of cold this weekend. So I watched a few movies, watched some college football, and so I didn't do much this weekend.
I don't think I've ever asked you, who's the team you follow?
Mississippi State.
Ah, that's right, Mississippi State. All right, well, Auburn fired their coach. I don't have that in sports today, but Hugh Freeze is out as Auburn's coach, licking their wounds because they can't win a game. Do you watch NFL?
Yes.
You do? Okay. We're more of college football, but we'll talk about the Chiefs here in just a second. So Beckett, I mentioned, it really truly feels like we are going back into another season. This beautiful weather, when's the snap coming? Is it next weekend?
Yeah, it's going to be next Sunday. So we're talking about Sunday when it's going to end.
All right. It's going to be cold then. Okay. Well, let us know how it's going to be today, bus stop forecast, and then heading into the week.
Yeah, so looking at the temperature right now, 41 degrees out there, sunny skies, dew point very low, 36. Our sunrise this morning is at 6:30 since we fell back over the weekend into standard time. Our sunset is at 5 o'clock. So if the sun's setting later, don't be surprised because we are going to see that earlier happening right now since we fell back into standard time. So morning 41 degrees, sunny skies as we're heading this afternoon. 64 degrees as your high, keeping with those sunny skies. Now we are going to warm up tomorrow. 70 degrees is our high. That is not what early November is supposed to be like. Our average high for this time of the year is 61. This is more like early October. So 70 with a low of 54. Wednesday keeping in the low 70s with a high around 71. 68 on Thursday, keeping in the 70s through Friday, but then we do cool down by Saturday and by Sunday we have a high in the 50s. So again, enjoy this weather because it's going to get a lot colder.
It's just crazy. Again, we don't know what to wear. It's so confusing. Short sleeve shirts, people are going to break out their swimsuits again. All right, Becca. Well, thank you so much. Have a fantastic day at school. We'll talk to you again on Friday.
All right, sounds good.
Folks, that's Beckett Moore, our aspiring meteorologist. Again, you can follow him on X or on YouTube at More Weather Official. Again, we'll be continuing to follow his career as a brilliant young man. Okay, we've got some really interesting news you can use. First of all, a lot of you have been affected in some way or another by the government shutdown. It's continuing. The Boeing strike continuing. Those are big stories we've been talking about. Here's the latest for you as you are dealing with, one way or another, the problems coming from the government shutdown. Well, now they're saying that the U.S. economy could lose $15 billion from the government shutdown. A report finding that it will lower GDP growth for the quarter by 1 to 2 percentage points. Most of this decline will be recovered, however, depending on how long the shutdown continues. The CBO found the economy could lose up to $15 billion. The decline is the result of fewer services provided by federal workers, less spending on goods and services, lower SNAP benefits. We talked about that being lost over the weekend. The agency also said, quote, the effects of the shutdown on the economy are still uncertain. I would like to know, for those of you that have been flying, have you been affected at the airport? My husband left this morning to go on a prisoner pickup trip and went much earlier than he normally would. He said that the lines have gotten really crazy. So just a heads up, if you are flying, you might want to go even earlier. Just be there. Again, you might be at the gate super early, but at least you will be getting to your destination. Okay, I know we have a viewer that talks about the fact that she was diagnosed with this. I have a very dear friend that has been diagnosed with it. It used to be something very rare. Now we're talking about alpha-gal syndrome more and more. This rare disease, it is causing a meat allergy, seeing an explosive rise across the United States. In fact, look at that map on the right-hand side. You can see a huge portion right here in our area in the Midwest, and then more towards the Northeast, but look at over to, even more to the south and to the west, we're not seeing that as much. Obviously, a lot of that could play into the weather. Researchers at Virginia Commonwealth University report that more and more people through the U.S. are contracting alpha-gal syndrome, a tick-borne disease. Specifically, they found that there's been a 100-fold increase in cases between 2013 and 2024, data showing that this was driven in part by a recent spike in cases, with the rising from 23.46% to 94% between 21 and 22 and 23-24, respectively. Alpha-gal has gone from a medical curiosity to a major public health issue in just a decade. It's typically linked to the Lone Star tick, which can be found throughout Virginia. The Department of Health describes it as an aggressive biter that can be identified by the white dot or Lone Star on its back. And it was largely confined to southeastern states in the past. And as you can see, like we said from that map, that is not the case any longer. So I know there is one lady who watches, as I mentioned, on a regular basis, and she has talked about the fact that she has it and her entire life has changed. It used to be that I would hear from people that had it that said, well, I just can't eat anything with a hoof. Now they're saying it's much, much worse. So I think that's a future Medical Monday show that we need to do to bring that back up. And why are we seeing this rise? In other health news, bird flu outbreak in Missouri. And this is what I want you to watch for. Highly pathogenic avian influenza, or bird flu, spreads among birds through contact with infected feces, saliva, or nasal discharges. It can move between wild birds and domestic poultry. Symptoms to look for include tremors, head tilting, the loss of coordination, inability to fly or walk properly, or trouble standing upright, being lethargic. While risk to humans is rare, sporadic infections have occurred, especially among hunters. So, warn to avoid touching dead or sick birds, report sightings of dead geese or other waterfowl, raptors, or other large birds. Do not report songbirds. That has not been detected in any songbirds in Missouri, so these species are not considered a significant concern. Keep the pets away from dead or dying wildlife, and if needing to handle a dead bird, wear gloves. Consider a face mask and wash those hands thoroughly when they are done. Human exposure can result in eye redness, respiratory problems, and fever. It is safe to eat properly handled and cooked poultry. Cooking the meat, of course, to an internal temperature of 165 degrees helps destroy the virus if it in fact is present. Okay, we got a couple of recalls for you. One has to do with blood pressure medication. The other is cholesterol medicine. Let's start with blood pressure first. For those of you that are on blood pressure medicine, please listen up. A pharmaceutical company has issued a voluntary recall for blood pressure medication over a reported cancer-causing chemical being found in the prescription drug. According to the FDA, the recall was issued after the presence of a carcinogenic compound was found in certain parts of these capsules. The agency indicated that the recalled medication may contain N-nitroso-prazosin impurity at levels higher than the acceptable limit. The medication is typically used for the treatment of high blood pressure. However, the FDA reported that over 580,000 bottles could contain excessive this one I might get wrong, nitrosamine, maybe impurities, which have been linked to cancer. The recall affects many bottles. A full list of impacted lot codes can be found online. And so I'm going to put in the comment section for you a link you can click on to find out if your medication is in fact part of this. And then we move to cholesterol medication. That's being recalled because it may not dissolve properly when it is taken. A drug company has recalled thousands of bottles. According to the U.S. FDA, Ascend Laboratories out of New Jersey initiated this voluntary recall for more than 140,000 bottles of their calcium tablets. It includes bottles of the company's 10, 20, 40, and 80 milligram tablets in 90 pill count bottles. This is a Class 2 recall, again, meaning the product may cause temporary or medically reversible adverse health consequences. According to the Cleveland Clinic, the tablets treat high cholesterol, helping those who take them lower their risk of a stroke or a heart attack. So I will also put this article in the comment section so you can see if this medication is one that you have. I'm going to take a moment here and say that I am asking for prayers for a former colleague of mine that worked at Fox 2. You may or may not have seen the story over the weekend. This is a woman that I worked with for about 4 years, Angie Mock. If you have not heard the story, it is going to be pretty startling to you. You may remember her face. That is her on the right. And although you're looking at the picture on the left and thinking there's no way that's the same person, it is. She's a former morning anchor that worked with us from 2011 to 2015. She was arrested on Friday, and according to the Wichita Police Department, officers responded to the 1500 block of East Crowley at 7:52 in the morning for a reported cutting incident. Once they arrived on scene, they found Mock outside the house and her 80-year-old mother, Anita Avers, in her bed with multiple stab wounds. The EMS transported her mother to an area hospital. She was later pronounced dead just before 8:30 in the morning. Mock was taken to an area hospital and then arrested and booked for first-degree murder. She is being held on a $1 million bond. The investigation, of course, is ongoing. And I've had so many people reach out to me asking if this was a real story, because you never know what to believe on social media anymore. It is unfortunately real. And there were stories that she had maybe contacted a former colleague of ours saying that maybe she was bipolar and she was an alcoholic and mental health disease, obviously. So there's so much more to come out from this, but shocking to say the least. Okay, we're wanting to know, what do we do with these pumpkins? Well, they have another life. The jack-o'-lantern's ghost. Pumpkins in St. Louis can have a second life after Halloween. So what do you do? Landfills, not a great option, according to Earth Day 365. Billions of pumpkins are grown each year for sale around October. They can take up space in the landfills and add methane gas, according to experts. So where do all the pumpkins disappear to after Halloween? That's where they go. Pumpkins can make great compost. Think about that. As long as you take off any decorations that you put on them, the bigger the fruit or vegetable, the better the compost. So think about that. You might want to use that. Again, don't let it go to waste. Use it as compost. Pumpkins composting helps helps plants grow nutrients with nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Earth Day's stations will be open until December 6th. They are free to use. So yet another story I'm going to post here for you to look at this article and find out, oh, well, well, where can I take my pumpkins? We've got an idea for you. So again, check out the screen for more information. Again, check out the comment section for more information. Okay, moving on. In other news this morning, we're going to talk sports, and I want to thank Gabriel for finding this one for me. I just saw a recent story with problems with the NBA, and we have all the sports betting coming to our area. Well, now they're talking about, there is no evidence of this, by the way, but there's a lot of fans that say that they believe that these games are being rigged. It's just because of how they think that there are so many calls that are missed. Obviously, their teams aren't winning, so they're thinking that there are conspiracy theories out there. No substantial evidence, by the way. No evidence of game fixing. The players, the media joking about it. Referees, they say, hey, they make mistakes. Integrity measures. Gambling and integrity, the rise of that has intensified the scrutiny. Fans questioning outcomes when significant money is on the line, and business interest having to do with that as well. Again, no, I'm just going to stress this. There is no evidence whatsoever that says that this is a real thing, at least for now. So we will say that that one is ongoing. Okay, in other sports news, did you watch the Chiefs game? Went down to the wire. I was hoping for a win for, it's the team again that we have kind of adopted. They played the Buffalo Bills yesterday, and here's the outcome. 28-21, unfortunately not for Kansas City. The Blues, they are in action. They need to start playing better, by the way. The St. Louis Blues are in action. They will be playing tonight at 7:30. It's Edmonton against the Blues. Then the Blues play the Capitals on Wednesday, and they will play the Buffalo Sabres on Thursday. Okay, before we get to the National Day of Calendar, today, sometimes they show birthdays. Well, today, my baby is having a birthday. The goofball on the left. Happy birthday to my sweet Tessa, the goofball on the left-hand side. Adelaide is always teasing her. Today's her big day, so we will spoil her like crazy. 9 years young. A lot of people come to the house and they think that she is one of the youngest just because she's got so much energy. We'll be throwing sticks together today. We'll be throwing leaves together today, and I will make her a birthday cake. What else is going on in the National Day of Calendar? Well, in my career, I was a longtime traffic reporter. Today would have been my day. So for all of you that are still reporting traffic and taking care of everybody on the roads, National Broadcast Traffic Professionals Day. It's National Sandwich Day, National Housewives Day, and Job Action Day. So take care of those housewives. Again, they're the ones that keep everything in order for you. So there you are. You're all up to date. We're going to continue the health news because there was a lot of that in our news you can use today. We're going to talk with Dr. Brooke Kalisiak with Legacy Physical Therapy. She's back to give you an aha moment of why you might be missing out and not realizing that you should be going to her. Again, you might think of the people that you think would go for pelvic floor health, but it might be you. And we'll let you know why when Dr. Kalisiak joins us next.
Let's go 5. Who wants to go? Sold! $2,000! I love it dramatic, don't you? Good 8086. Look, it is getting hot here. Where's Nellie? $8,500, 1986. 86. 85 is what she has it at. 86. 85. 85 going once. 8,500 going twice. 8,600 he says. She's like, come on, go fast. 87. I need 87. Lift it up. Let's do this. 87. 86. All right, we're going to do it again. $8,600 going once. Does anybody believe the game is done? I didn't think so either. 87. How about 88? 8,800. She has it for 87. We're going to do it again. 87 going once. Oh, look at this. We put it down. You might have it. 8,700 going twice to her. She's got it for $8,700. We're going to 64. He's talking to his buddies. They 64? Oh, he said, I think unless somebody else wants to jump in the game over here. 63, we're looking for 64. I'm gonna go 63 once. Do you think the girls have it, or are the guys gonna steal it away? 63 twice, they say the girls have it. 63 twice. The girls have it! Congratulations. I can feel it, yep. All right, $1,900. He's like, nope, make her work for it. How about 2,000? Keep talking. He says yes. He says yes. You want to have a game? Yes. Invite us all over for Super Bowl and have that sound bar. Twice. All right, that was it. Congratulations. Right there, $10,000. Make sure that I say your number. 178 at the $2,500 level. Who else can get the $2,500? Let's help these babies out.
And that's where you can find us on YouTube at The Real Monica Adams. Actually, that is the handle to look for on every platform but our Facebook page. My business Facebook page is at Monica Adams TV because it was around, obviously, during my TV days. All right, I was looking at some of the comments. Good morning to you all. Somebody said, goats eat pumpkins. Okay, looking for all the things. So tell me, what are you going to do with all of those pumpkins? And yes, thank you for the happy birthday to Tessa and Rose and Michelle. I think you figured it out. Michelle says that Tessa's her niece. Yes. So it's not an actual niece. It's my dog. So there you go. Okay, everybody. Hope you're having a great start to your Monday. We want to welcome back Dr. Brooke Kalisiak. We're going to give you all the information of where you can find her. And I'm so appreciative of those of you that have reached out already because she's really been brilliant over the last couple of months of people going, wait. I need to know about her. I thought this is how I had to live my life. Nope, that's not the case. Legacy Physical Therapy and Dr. Brooke Kalisiak. Welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
Great to see you again. Here's all the information of where you can find her, from her website to her phone number, online as well at Legacy Therapy STL, legacytherapystl.com on the website, and then 636, again, whether you want to call St. Louis, her locations in St. Louis or St. Peter, 636-225-3649 is the number for both. Did you have a good Halloween, first of all?
Yes.
What'd you do?
Went over to my sister's neighborhood and helped pass out candy over there and see all the littles in their costumes.
They get a lot of people in that neighborhood?
They get a decent amount. Yeah, it's a good neighborhood with like kind of one in and out. So
yeah,
it's a good trick-or-treating route.
It's so funny how many of us go to friends and family because it's like, we're going to pack up because our neighborhood doesn't have anybody.
yeah, that's exactly the case. I think we left a bowl of candy at our house, and it was still like 3/4 of the way full when we got back. We're like, okay, not so much action in our neighborhood.
You all are not going to believe this. I have a client who has a son that lives in San Francisco, and when he moved into his subdivision, he was told to have 5,000 pieces of candy.
Wow.
Every single home.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? You'd have to save up all year just to afford that.
Okay, that's crazy.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
5,000. Okay. Yeah, we're lucky to get 5. We don't get we get 0. Anyway, hope everybody had a good Halloween. So, for those who have not seen you over the last couple of months, and they're hearing, well, I know about physical therapy, but I've never heard of pelvic floor physical therapy. Again, you've been doing it for almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
And what was your first location?
The first location is the one here in Valley Park.
In Valley Park.
Yes.
Okay. And then when did you open St. Peter's?
St. Peter's has been open for like the last 3 years for us. So,
fantastic.
Yeah.
So again, growing and growing. Today's show is going to be all about who you think would go, and then aha moments of, oh, wow. So maybe I should have looked into this a long time ago. I'll tell you, the feedback has been incredible of people who have, a lot of women, yes, but then men have said, oh, okay, didn't know that you could help me with that, which we'll discuss you today. But a lot of women who said, I truly thought, and we brought this up last time, I was just going to have to live this way because mom, grandma, aunts, we all had it. And this is just, we have to like do the dance down the hallway. We have to, we sneak. I have a ton of clients that have said, oh, as soon as you get into jumping jacks, I got to go run to the bathroom. So as you have said before, yes, that's common.
Yeah,
but
it's not normal.
There you go.
Pelvic health issues are something that a lot of the population deals with, but the good news is that there are usually conservative treatment options that people can do to either prevent or get over them.
And it's not, everybody's body is different. So we can't sit here today and say, okay, if you come and see Dr. Brooke, it's only going to take you a few or 5 or 10. Everybody's situation is different.
Correct, yes. Everyone gets an individual assessment to look at what's going on specifically with their body and their situation. And then we come up with an individual plan for them based on any of the problem areas that we find. And so, yeah, we look at each person as an N of one, like making sure that we address their concerns, their complaints, to make sure that they're really optimizing things and getting back to being able to be active without having to worry about pelvic health issues as quickly as possible.
So when they first come to you, I would imagine the body language is different from when they walk out the door, probably skipping and jumping and so excited. Because again, they're coming to you in the beginning and they feel like, which I hate this, and this is why I'm trying to break the stigma of the fact that we all deal with similar things. So we might as well just start talking about our bodies.
Yes.
But in the beginning, is it hard for them to say, this is why I'm coming to you?
For a lot of people, and honestly, that's why I created Legacy Physical Therapy, was to create an environment where people could come in and feel really comfortable talking about these things, because we realize that it's an uncomfortable topic for a lot of people to talk about. So at our locations, we have private treatment rooms with a closed door. They're comfortable. It feels homey and relaxed. You know, from the moment you walk in and meet Annie and Carolyn up front to the minute your therapist is working with you, we try and set you at ease and make you as comfortable as possible. Because, you know, when I started out my career as a physical therapist, I worked for an organization that was like a big orthopedic practice. And it was like 30, 40 people there at a time,
overwhelming,
crazy busy gym. And there was actually, at one point, there was a pelvic physical therapist there, and they just pulled a curtain around a table, and you were talking about a private issue.
And people can hear you
like,
talking.
Yeah, while all these people are around, and it's like, oh, no, like this. And yeah, people don't share. They clam up. I wouldn't want to share in that situation. So it's like, no. This is all trying to make the person feel as comfortable as possible and normalizing, like you said, like everyone's like, oh, you probably haven't heard this before. And I was like, actually, I've heard it 5 times today.
I just heard it to the person next to you.
I'll have 3 more patients who are telling me the same thing today. But it's like, no, just letting them realize that, oh, like other people deal with this and other people have gotten better from this.
Right.
And I can do that too.
That's what she wants for you. Again, she's got such a passion for helping people to realize that what you're dealing with right now, she can help you with it. And the thing that I love is that you said it does not matter the age.
Correct.
So if you have a mom, a grandma, a grandpa that has been dealing with something for a while and they're like, oh, it's okay, honey, I'm in my 80s, she can't help me. That's not the case.
That is definitely not the case. And honestly, bladder leakage, urinary incontinence is one of the most common things that lands family members into like an assisted living facility or a nursing home situation, because their family can't necessarily help them with that aspect as much. And so if we can prevent the bladder leakage, we can prevent the urinary incontinence, the urgency and frequency issues. That potentially means that someone gets to stay in their home for longer and, you know, be more comfortable and not have to go move to some, nursing home and feel kind of, left out from things.
That is a huge comment. That I never even thought of. Yeah, keep mom and dad at home.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, again, if you're just tuning in, Dr. Brooke Kalisiak, Legacy Physical Therapy. Isn't that an aha moment? So now, but I want to stress, don't feel shamed if you did have to put mom or dad into an assisted living or, again, a nursing home. You didn't know, but now you do. Now I want you to share this with your family and friends to say, whoa. Don't, if that's what the problem is, don't put them in yet. Have them go over to Dr. Kalisiak, let her help, and then let them stay at home where they feel more comfortable.
Yeah, that's a good option.
That's huge. Okay, so we're going to run through these. We've got several that Dr. Kalisiak has come up with us. And as I read this and was getting ready for the show, I thought this is going to be such a huge show today. This is an aha moment. So men and women, please stick around with this one if you can. If not, of course, come back to it. So we have talked about it in the past, but people are going to say, what exactly is pelvic physical therapy and who is it for?
So pelvic physical therapists are physical therapists who have gone through extra training to learn about the muscles in the pelvic area of the body. So specifically, the pelvic floor is a bowl of muscles that goes from our pubic bone in the front to the tailbone in the back and spans across our sit bone. So you and I are sitting on ours right now. And these muscles are heavily involved in bowel, bladder, and sexual function. The thing is, though, they function like muscles in the rest of our body. They function like our bicep muscle or our quadricep. And so they can have issues like being too weak or too tight, or they can get strained or torn. And because of their location, it ends up affecting more intimate things like bowel, bladder, and sexual function.
Right.
And so that's kind of our main focused area as a pelvic physical therapist, but we realize they're part of a bigger system. So they are part of our whole core canister that works together. So I describe it as a soda can to my clients a lot of times, that the diaphragm's the top, the abdominal wall and the back are the sides of the can, and the pelvic floor is the bottom of the can. And all of those muscles have to work together to make sure that we can stay upright and have good posture, to manage pressure, to make sure that the internal systems are working well. So lots of things have to play nice together to be able to be pain-free and symptom-free. And so our job as pelvic physical therapists is to kind of tease that out. And, when someone's dealing with issues, figure out what part of the canister is not doing well and why, and help them with it. And, it sounds it's a simple way to think about it, but everyone has a pelvis.
Right.
So everyone's going to have pelvic floor muscles and have, the abdominal muscles and stuff like that. And so they can potentially have issues in those areas. So
And it doesn't matter the age.
doesn't matter the age, no.
So obviously, when someone's got a problem, we want them to be going in. But would someone come to you from a preventative standpoint?
We love to work with people preventatively. So like we're thinking about it like being your dentist for your pelvic area and coming like that sounded really weird. I'm sorry. But we go see our dentist twice a year to make sure we don't have teeth problems. But most of the rest of the medical field, we kind of go only when we have a problem.
Yep,
but
that's the problem.
The pelvic physical therapy side of it, it would be wonderful to have kind of a proactive approach to it, just to like kind of major milestones. So, when you first start your period, when you're thinking about having children, every time you've had a child, if you're going to undergo any type of surgery in the abdominal, pelvic, back, hip area, that'd be a
Strengthen
good
those
time,
muscles.
to check
good
in.
points.
When you notice that you're starting to go through perimenopause or menopause if you're a woman. So kind of key events like that are great times to check in with a pelvic physical therapist to see, what's going on with your muscles and see if you need to kind of adjust things accordingly, so that you're kind of optimizing everything for, not having any type of symptoms with it.
Great points. Because again, think about anybody that goes through a surgery. If they've been strengthening prior to, they bounce back quicker. So it's the same type of thing within. Again, if you're just tuning in, Dr. Brooke Kalisiak is my guest, Legacy Physical Therapy. And we're talking about whether or not you realized that she can help you with certain things. The very first thing, would you say the highest percentage of people who would think, I know who probably goes to Legacy Physical Therapy. It's women after having children.
Yes,
The
that's probably
high
the
percentage
most
of what
common.
they think.
And that's honestly where our profession started. So pelvic physical
okay?
therapy started with helping pregnant and postpartum moms. And that's kind of where it evolved from, but has grown exponentially over the decades into helping in all different areas of pelvic health. But yes, there's still a big chunk of the population that sees us during pregnancy and in those early postpartum days to, help make sure that their abdominal muscles are coming back after being stretched out with the pregnancy, to make sure that they're not dealing with any leakage or pelvic heaviness or pressure. And making sure that they're getting their body back in shape so that they can, potentially either just be active the way they want to or be ready for another child and so we see that a lot. And unfortunately, a lot of women are like, well, I'm going to pop out 2 or 3 or 4 of these. I'll just deal with it afterwards.
Yeah.
And that makes
time.
it really hard, like, because you've started up high and you kind of end down low with it. Whereas if you kind of rehab in between, we kind of get this little ebb and flow for people, and it makes it a lot easier to keep your body moving forward.
You're not starting at rock bottom.
Correct.
Right? Because you've waited for so long. Again, if that was your mindset of that's the only people that would go to Dr. Kalisiak, that's not the case. I will say you see a lot of it on social media, more so from personal trainers that realize, ooh, it's the clickbait thing. Oh, this is going to get a lot of clicks, and I'm going to show you what you need to do. Whether they're right or wrong, and that's the other thing. There's just a lot out there that's not good information of why you should go to Dr. Kalisiak. Go to a professional, let them work with you. So if you do the physical therapy, what type of moves would you tell them to do at home or in a gym to strengthen those muscles?
Oh, it's very independent to each person, and that kind of the key thing that is maybe common to everyone is making sure that they are able to integrate their breath, their belly, and their pelvic floor together, because that's part of that whole canister working together. And so a lot of people, whether we're holding muscles too tense and we need to work on relaxing them first and then using them, or they're too weak and they just need to work on strengthening them, we get that basic down and then incorporate it into other moves. And so that's where we see a lot of people kind of go wrong with women if they're not, like, especially if they've started back to an exercise class and they're like, Brooke, I've been doing 30 minutes of abs like 3 times a week and I don't feel like I'm getting any stronger. It's like, oh yeah, we've probably developed a faulty holding pattern and we're just using pressure to stabilize. And that's like going to plateau out at a point and you're not actually getting the muscles stronger. You're just kind of holding steady with it. And so making sure that they're properly engaging the muscles so that whatever workout they want to do, they feel like they can progress from it.
Right. Again, she's wanting to strengthen you, mind, body, soul. It's across the board. Before we go to a break, let me give you some props because I saw a recent video. Did you just hit a PR in some move? What were you doing?
I just did a PR in squats.
Squats.
And that's, yeah.
How much?
215
Look
pounds.
at this. I commented. I forget what I said. Probably badass. Boss babe, right?
There you go.
All right. We're running through. We're going to get to, many people think pelvic physical therapy is only for the women after having a baby. So what are some other conditions that they treat? For those of you that are men, you do not want to go anywhere. You're going to get a wake-up call of why you should be calling her office. So don't go anywhere. More with Dr. Brooke Kalisiak when we return. Welcome to the mobile Monica version of the Real Monica Adams Show at my favorite restaurant. There's something about a coffee house that's just very warm and welcoming.
Gives you that sense of community.
What are you most proud of since you've opened it?
I cry easily. I'm thankful for everybody here.
You opened the door during the middle of the pandemic. You got the best Italian restaurant in the United States. Here in St. Louis, you put us on the map. Does it scare you? You go through fear?
Terrifying.
So how do you get past the fear?
We find something to laugh about.
Welcome back. Again, thanks for tuning in to the Real Monica Adams Show. I love all of you that are able to interact with us and stay with us live. If you catch a portion, this is one of those shows you definitely want to come back to. And make sure that you share it. And when you share, I would highly recommend that you put a little comment at the top of the share. Otherwise, people are trying to figure out what are you sharing it for, right? So if you say, oh my gosh, this was an aha moment, and maybe you even show exactly where that comment was, that helps as well. So welcome back. Dr. Brooke Kalisiak is our guest with Legacy Physical Therapy. Again, Valley Park, St. Peters, 2 locations. Follow them on social media as well at Legacy Therapy STL. And then that website, as you can see, is legacytherapystl.com. Okay, we're going to get to more of the rundown of what we have planned for you today. But let me get to Rose's comment. She wants to know, have you ever had someone who you just could not do anything for? They're just too far gone. And she also said insurance.
So there are times where we have to loop other providers and medical members into someone's care team. So there have definitely been times where someone is potentially an appropriate candidate for surgery, or maybe they need injections for pain management, or they're looking for some type of over-the-counter medicine or prescription medicine to help with it. So sometimes we're part of the care team, not the only answer with it. So, but I'd say usually there's some component that we can help with and help get people feeling better and moving better with it. To her question about insurance, so pelvic physical therapy falls under your normal physical therapy benefits with your insurance plan. So if you're wanting to find out what your physical therapy benefits are, you don't have to say, well, I'm specifically going for pelvic physical therapy. You just call up your insurance company and ask what your physical therapy benefits are. Every plan's going to be a little bit different. At our facility, we are in network with Medicare and TRICARE, but out of network with the private insurances so that we can work one-on-one with you. We highly, highly value cost transparency and have that conversation up front with people over the phone. Annie and Carolyn are wonderful at talking to people and letting them know what their investment might be to work with us in that situation.
Yeah, no one likes to be like, oh, wait, sticker shock, right? So they will work with you on all that. Yeah, Rose, so make the phone call. All of you, again, don't think that this is the things, again, that you have to live with. So we talked about women, again, after having a baby. A lot of you are like, okay, that's what I would think it would be for. But there are many other conditions that they treat. You talked about bladder leakage, constipation, pelvic pain, painful intercourse. And again, a lot of you might be like, women might be thinking, well, isn't that what happens when I'm going through menopause symptoms? We've talked about many things that will say, no, you don't have to go. So maybe she can help you in the realm of that, as well as obviously checking to see what are your hormones. It's all of it together. How did your call go, by the way, or your Zoom with Jen McDaniel?
It was great. I think we had like 40 people on the call.
Awesome.
And people were asking great questions. Just really, we did a deep dive into kind of pelvic health concerns of menopause and nutritional considerations for menopause. And so it was really great to kind of get that education and information out there for the public.
Yep. Again, helping women and men, but let's get into men. So for men, post-prostate surgery recovery, hernias.
Yeah.
I saw that and went, oh my gosh, I did not even think about it. I know so many people that have hernias and just are living with them.
So hernias are one of those things that you can live with, honestly. Like there's many people who probably don't even realize they have a hernia and it's just there. But some people are bothered by them. Sometimes they're symptomatic. Sometimes they just know that, like, okay, I have this little bulge in the abdominal wall, and sometimes it can be painful. But hernias, we can't necessarily completely get rid of the hernia, but we can teach people how to manage the pressures in the abdominal cavity so that they're not putting too much outward pressure. So maybe someone's not a candidate for surgery, or they're really just hoping to avoid that, and so they want to manage it conservatively. Making sure that you know how to lift well and properly engage your deep core muscles so that you're not putting too much pressure through that area can go a long, long way to living comfortably with a hernia and not having to worry about it.
Right. So, there's people that at any cost want to avoid surgery, but they're starting to say, okay, this is no longer just something I don't like to look at. It's getting painful on me. So when I saw that in your rundown, I'm like, wow, didn't even think about hernia. Post-prostate surgery recovery, how many men come to you for that, or even aware that you do that for them?
There are many more men out there that could use the awareness.
Well, that's what we're doing today.
Yes, there we go. But we work with a big portion of men who are dealing with prostate issues and have had the surgery and are dealing with bladder leakage or erectile dysfunction issues afterwards. And, really what the research has shown is that pelvic physical therapy can shorten that time frame of dealing with bladder leakage. So it is normal to have a little bit of bladder leakage and erectile issues after having that surgery. And there's so many factors that play into that as to how long that might last and how severe it is. And sometimes some of that can't be avoided at all, just depending on what happened with the surgery and what all the tissues were involved. But for many men, working with a pelvic physical therapist to make sure that they're using the muscles in the area correctly and that scar tissue is not limiting things and blood flow is going good, all of that can lessen the time frame that they're dealing with symptoms, can lessen the severity, and can get them, back to being dry faster.
And then again, I love this. oftentimes patients come to Dr. Brooke and say, quote, I wish I knew this existed years ago. Because again, you might have your husband or your boyfriend might be talking about something that their parents or their grandpa went through, and now they're experiencing something similar, and it is, hey, honey, let me tell you about this, instead of you waiting and thinking that you just have to deal with that.
Correct.
So again, if you know someone that has hernia issues, has prostate issues, has bladder leakage, has incontinence, has erectile dysfunction, has painful intercourse, I mean, think of all the things that we just ran down. And again, that's just some of them. So can pelvic PT really help with bladder problems like urgency? So if someone laughs or sneezes and just deals with that on a regular basis, you can.
Yes, that's probably one of the most common things that we work with. So when you leak with cough, laugh, sneeze, or exercise, that's called stress urinary incontinence. And that's typically a result of either a muscle weakness or a muscle coordination or a pressure management issue. And that's kind of our bread and butter of what we can really help with well there. Another common type of bladder leakage is called urinary urgency or urge incontinence. And that's where you get that feeling like you've got to go and you can't quite get to the bathroom in time. So urgency is just that strong feeling of I got to go. Urge incontinence is I got to go, but I don't get there in time. And so if someone has both stress and urge incontinence, they end up with mixed incontinence. So they got a little bit of both.
Oh, good.
And that. So, but those different types of incontinence have different routes to kind of treat them. And so urge incontinence, oftentimes we come at it, it's not necessarily just a weakness issue per se, but it actually might be that the muscles are too tight and tense, and that's irritating the bladder. And so we have to work on getting those muscles to relax more. And that's why a lot of times when women and men have been told just to do Kegel exercises, and they're like, that actually made my symptoms worse. It's like, well, you were probably dealing with a too tight and tense muscle issue. And yeah, doing a bunch of squeezes of those muscles is just going to make it more unhappy.
I literally will say, if I had only been introduced to her 20, 25 years ago, how many female clients I could have helped, because I just think of every single one of them that always, they would sit there and go, we'll be back. And I would lose half of my class at the beginning of my warm up. And I'm like, it's okay, girls. All of them in childbearing years, all of them just having babies and just saying, it's what we have to live with. I mean, this is why we're doing the show, is that from here forward, you can say to all the younger women, hey, you can go to her and be proactive. And then all of you that have just thought, I have to live with this, then now you realize no longer, no, you don't. So if you have been and you're dealing with that, and you, again, are trying to exercise, you're trying, again, that's the thing that's so frustrating for so many women. They are saying, well, I'm trying to do what I'm needing to do. And I keep running into this, and it's embarrassing.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the case. And what I love seeing is that I really do feel like there's momentum in the public as far as the awareness. Now, I still get patients every week who come in and say, I didn't know this was a thing. I'm glad I'm here now, but I had no idea. But we're getting a lot more traction of people being like, oh yeah, no, I'd heard about this. My friend told me I needed to do this. We're doing several talks in the coming months at area, like, Pilates studios and gyms and stuff like that, where they want to educate their members. Like, hey, we're doing one upcoming in December where it's like, I forget exactly what we titled it, but like it's related to, you can wear more than just black leggings to class, and making sure you're not leaking with your box jumps and double unders and stuff like that. So.
All the ladies, they want to wear their cute colored printed outfits again.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that you had a couple of events. I tell you what, we'll take a quick break. We'll tell you about some of the events that she has coming up, and then we're going to get into bowel issues. I'm so glad we're talking about these things. I know some of you are like, oh, let's just get rid of that. Let's get rid of the whole thing that you feel like you can't talk about what's going on in your body. Today, let's give you that freedom to do so, and then it'll get everybody else talking around you. Men and women, both, and all ages. Okay? Dr. Brooke Kalisiak. More when we return.
I was just on the Real Monica Adams show, and it was really a good experience for me. When I walked in, the building is just peaceful. The environment is beautiful here. Monica really made me feel welcome.
The Monica Adams show allows people to be themselves. It's really important to share kindness, to be real, to offer stories and things that will give people hope and a reason to smile.
Rather than waking up aggravated, disappointed, and wondering, where's this earth going, choose to wake up with something that'll put your mind and your heart in the right direction. Start with Monica.
Welcome back. Again, thanks for tuning in. If you're just tuning in, we've been talking with Dr. Brooke Kalisiak with Legacy Physical Therapy. Watch from here forward and then go back and watch, because again, so many things on this Medical Monday that we're discussing that may be you. And it's just aha moments. If you have listened to Dr. Kalisiak in the past and said, okay, bladder issues. Oh, I don't have that. I don't think so. Or I'm 30 years old. I don't deal with that. Okay, look, it's all ages. It's proactive. It's not living with things that you thought you just had to deal with. It's all of those things. So we've been talking about men and women both. So we talked earlier again about bowel issues. We just touched on it. So constipation. Everyone has dealt with it. And then we strain.
Yes.
And then we bleed. These are all not good things.
Correct.
So is there something we can do to, well, obviously from an eating standpoint, having more fiber?
Yeah, so constipation is really one of those kind of multifactorial things that we've got to manage. And sometimes we're partnering with the person's doctor and a nutritionist and stuff like that to see what's going on, what are we taking in to make sure things are moving through appropriately. But, I usually don't say there's a piece of advice that is for everyone, that's one size fits all, but this might be the exception to it. I'm a big fan of a product called the Squatty Potty, which is a stool that helps to get your knees up above the level of your hips when you're on the toilet.
My sister-in-law has them in every. I'm gonna tell you right now, I have never heard of it until last week. And my brother goes, "You don't know what a Squatty Potty is?" And I said, "No." I go, my mom and I both looked at that and thought it was for like little kids. Is that what you hear a lot?
Yeah, no, definitely. You can put any type of stool in front of the toilet. The Squatty Potty is lovely because it wraps around the toilet and can let your knees be out wider. So we were designed to be in more of a squat position to have a bowel movement, and our nice high modern toilets kind of take us out of that position.
Especially if you're shorter.
So I've had many a patient just add that to their bathroom and be like, oh my goodness, this was life-changing.
There it is. Squatty Potty. Unkink your colon.
Yes, they Squatty Potty fully takes ownership of what they are advertising. So I highly recommend going to their website and enjoying their content because they enjoy it.
Again, like I said, my sister-in-law now has them in every one of their bathrooms, and I had never seen it before. Well, my brother was laughing, and he goes, well, we're taller. He's like, but think she's 5'2". My mom's like just shy of 5 foot. Okay. And he's like, their poor little legs are up there. They're not in a good position. Yeah. So that's one. But if someone deals with that on a regular basis, they should be checking on their nutrition.
Yes,
right?
Definitely.
But also, so you'll be able to help them with that.
Yeah, so a lot of people, we get potty trained at 3 years old, 3 to 4, somewhere in there. And think about it, you don't really learn how to push.
Right.
You learn how to hold it until you get on the toilet,
right.
But we don't teach our kids per se how to push. And so then we go our whole life just bowel movements kind of happened, and I guess I have to strain really hard and hold my breath to make it happen. A lot of people are erroneously contracting their pelvic floor muscles and closing the door back there.
Interesting.
Instead of relaxing and letting it come out. And they just need to be taught how to push. And I sometimes joke with my clients who will appreciate it of yep, we're doing adult potty training today and they're like, yeah, I never was taught how to do this. And I was like, nope, I get it. And what we're teaching you now, and this is how it goes.
And again, we said this earlier, but it's worth repeating. It is not embarrassing to talk about these things because everybody, and again, if you're all willing, you'll just write yes. Everyone has dealt with this. Yes, yes, across the board. Now we're trying to help you so that you're not causing issues, even more issues than what you're already dealing with. Okay, so we talked about men, again, coming in for prostate surgery, but if you are coming to her being proactive, maybe being able to avoid surgeries is obviously one of the things that she's talking about. But also, I wish more men would talk about incontinence because that's the biggest thing from all the stories that I've done over the last 30 years. It's men as they're getting older dealing with that, but never, ever, ever wanting to talk about it. I will say we women do a better job talking about our bodies.
Yeah.
And men don't.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think, on the female side of things, it has become more normalized to talk about it. And we are lagging behind on the male side with that. And that goes across the board into like the medical community. So if many of the men are like, well, my doctor didn't tell me about this at all. Like, I'm telling them about my bladder issues. If you're brave enough to tell your doctor about your bladder issues, they're probably recommending either a surgery or some medication with it and not even bringing up pelvic physical therapy. And I bring that up because unfortunately for a lot of people, you're still going to have to advocate for yourself to go to pelvic physical therapy or seek it out. And it's not because it's not a good option. It's just that doctors haven't had much training in what the muscles are involved in and what they can do and don't realize that pelvic physical therapy can be helpful. And unfortunately, a lot of doctors erroneously think that pelvic physical therapy is just going to teach you Kegel exercises, just a contraction of the muscles. And it's so much more than that. So they're like, well, I'm not like, here's a sheet of paper on how to do the exercises. You don't need to go. And so, unfortunately, a lot of times people have to advocate for themselves, and especially I find our male clients have to do that they have to be the ones seeking it out, not their doctors telling them, like, oh, this is an option for you.
And we mentioned that last month. It's an education piece, but if we look back in history of medicine, and then all of a sudden we look at the evolution of, oh, see, this is when they learned more, and now we know about this. It really is that. It's the education of it all. I'm so glad that she and I met socially online, because if we hadn't, I would have not known about this. I was like, what? And for 17 years, it's been in our area. As I mentioned, I wish, because again, I think I would have been able to save so many of you. Instead, it's now what we do moving forward. So if you did just tune in, I think, again, when I was looking through the list, it was hernias, prostate, incontinence, constipation, all of these things for you to get a wake-up call. Okay, let's run through some more of these. Can pelvic PT help with pain during intimacy or sexual dysfunction? We touched on it a little bit. This is something I wish people would talk more about as well.
Yes.
Right? So are you having pain during intercourse? What's the root cause of that?
Yes. So
what other things that people have come to you for when it has to do with sexual dysfunction?
A lot of the feeling of like dryness and irritation. A common thing that I'll hear my patients say is like, it feels like sandpaper. Like, and I was like, oh yeah, that wouldn't feel good. Oh no. Or it just feels like my partner doesn't fit.
Right.
Like, so if we're talking about penetrative sex, and sometimes that can be due to muscles being too tight. Sometimes it can be due to scar tissue. So if a woman's had an episiotomy or she tore naturally with childbirth and that scar tissue heals up, but doesn't stretch or move as readily. Like, we actually need to teach that tissue, that scar tissue, to be able to stretch and move. And unfortunately, a lot of times, we've had the baby, the scarring happens, we leave it alone to let it heal. And then the first time we try is maybe with our partner, and that's a big stretch for a lot of people, and it can be very uncomfortable. And then as a sequelae to that, then people are like, oh, this wasn't very comfortable last time. The muscles around there tense up. Like, I don't want this to happen. This is potentially going to hurt. And then if they try again, it usually hurts again. And so you get into this kind of big cycle of like pain begetting muscle spasm, begetting pain. And we need to be able to break into that and get the scar tissue to move, get the muscles to relax better. So we see people at all points in their lifetime dealing with issues like that. So it's not just someone who's going through menopause and dealing with the dryness in the area. It can be due to other causes.
Right, because right away when I think about that, it is, okay, I need to go check my hormones. And maybe I need to get on HRT or BHRT, but it could be a combination of, right? It's a combination of working with you and working with maybe an OBGYN.
Yes, so there's definitely times where we do need, and as a pelvic physical therapist, it's outside of our scope of practice to do hormone testing and that kind of stuff. So we'd be referring you back to your OBGYN or functional practitioner to make sure to check your hormone levels and see if that component of it needs to be added in. But it might be, again, multifactorial
Right.
as to what's causing the pain and issues there.
And I'm just going to tell you, for all of you that have never dealt with it and you think, oh, no, I'm fine, it's not going to happen to me, just wait. And when it does, it is the most, I'm just telling you firsthand, it is the most painful thing. So I would have loved to have known about Dr. Kalisiak at the time. Instead, I am glad that I knew that I needed to go and have my labs done and check and realize that I was going through perimenopause and approaching menopause. And then it was, what do I do? The other part of that is that there are many women that are dismissed by their OBGYN for whatever reason of, no, this is something you're just going to have to deal with.
Unfortunately.
It is very unfortunate because, again, you do push away from your partner. Then your partner, it's a mental health thing at that point because then they question, are you not into me anymore?
Yeah.
Right? It's so many levels of healing relationships, healing your body, as I mentioned, your mind, your soul all together. So let's talk about it. As the comment I just put in, as George Michael sang so good about, let's talk about sex. Let's do it. Let's talk about it and then let's do it. Right, Dr.
There you go.
Kalisiak?
There you go.
What about those who have had surgery? Okay, so they had a hysterectomy, they had prolapse repair, they had again from a prostate standpoint, a prostatectomy. Do they need pelvic PT?
Yes, that's a simple answer, because the surgery disrupts the muscles in the area, and that so whether they're going through laparoscopically through little holes in the abdomen, or they're having to do an open incision, like there is disruption into how the muscles are going to perform in that area. And I bring it back to my orthopedic background that someone has a knee replacement or a rotator cuff repair, they're going to therapy 3 times a week for months afterwards to rehab those muscles. Now, I'm not saying it has to be that extensive, but we do surgery in this kind of midsection area of the body, and the surgeon says rest for 6 weeks and then you're good to go. Yeah. And that's where people can potentially start to develop bad habits and problems, because our body's going to find a way to get it done. Our body's great at that, but it might find a faulty pattern to get it done. And unfortunately, one of the risk factors with prolapse repair. So prolapse is when, for females, the pelvic organs start to fall into the vaginal canal. And so women might have surgery to repair that and help kind of support them back up and in. But that surgery has a high kind of failure rate or need for a recurrent surgery down the road, that the prolapse or a different type of prolapse happens 5 to 10 years down the road. And over, I've been doing this for close to 2 decades now. Like when I talk with my patients who are coming in for prolapse physical therapy, I see in their medical history that they've had a surgery, and I was like, oh, I see you had a surgery 6 years ago. They're like, yeah, it was great for like the first 2 to 3 years, and then I had an issue. Yep. It came back again. And I don't want to have another surgery. Like I already went down that route. And it's like, okay. And I asked, did you do any type of pelvic physical therapy afterwards? And like, oh no, I felt great after my surgery. It was fine. And I was like, yeah, but we didn't rehab the muscles in there. We didn't change how any type of bad holding patterns or recruitment patterns that maybe led up to you potentially needing the surgery in the first place. And so we went through that same process again. Sure. And so, yeah, for me, that's really kind of one of my soapboxes is having people come in for a couple of visits just to really assess how they're using those muscles. And, for many people, we might green light them to be like, you're actually doing great.
Right.
Like,
we want to hear that.
Yeah, these are some things to watch for. But yeah, go back to, whatever type of activity they enjoy and that. And others, we're going to catch problems early on and be able to make a difference with them before they become symptomatic.
I really do hope that we revisit this in a year and 3 years and 5 years from now, and I hear you say more and more doctors, or maybe it's from a FDA and a Congress standpoint of, hey, this is going to be that they are working in partnership, that I'm going to take women here for a second, or actually I'll take them both. I'll take women that are going through the childbearing years and you're having babies. Then you have men that are going through prostate surgery. I would love to hear that immediately they say, now, we want you to go to this physical therapy because think of everything that's happened down there. We need you to strengthen that back up, not just rest and then now start moving again.
Yes.
I mean, from so many levels, including scar tissue that's building up in there.
Yeah.
To me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And she's like, and so it is to me, Monica.
Like, yes, it is. It is too. But I'm realizing that I have to do a lot of education to the general community and the medical community to make it a no-brainer for everyone.
Right. We've got a couple more we're going to get through, but let me see here. Jenny said, I know that the Uro-GYN providers would refer to pelvic floor physical therapy first thing.
So urogynecologist is a specialty, like a double board certification in urology and gynecology. And these physicians are experts in prolapse issues and oftentimes pelvic pain issues as well. So there are several urogynecologists who commonly do refer to pelvic physical therapy. A lot of them, we get them proactively ahead of potentially looking down the road for any type of surgery. Still don't see as many of them sending after surgery, but some of them are changing their tunes.
So Jenny said, I'm glad we have more awareness. She said she worked with, do you know a Dr. McLennan? You do?
Yep.
Uro-GYN in early 2000. Back then, only one local PT provider. Well, yeah, see, that's 25 years ago, before her.
I was like, that was before me.
Yep. Back then, only one, and very few specialists in the field. Things have improved through the years. I had not thought about the men needing help in this area. So glad you brought that to attention. Yes, these are all the things that we want to keep talking about. Again, this is your forum. So any questions, please find your voice, because something that you're sitting there thinking, I don't want to talk about it. Again, it's uncomfortable. Just let it go, and then realize that somebody else is so happy that you asked it or that you said it, because it just continues to help. All right, our final two with Dr. Brooke Kalisiak. Again, it's Legacy Physical Therapy, Valley Park, St. Peter's. Same phone number to make your appointment, to ask any questions. 636-225-3649. Again, as you can see, we help people find lasting relief from pelvic health issues, pelvic pain, pregnancy, postpartum issues, bowel bladder issues, again, prostate issues, hernia, so many levels of things that we have talked about today. So give them a call, follow them again at Legacy Physical Therapy STL. All right, when we come back, this is the aha moment. What is causing your back pain and your hip pain, and what can be done about it? We'll talk about that when we return.
Wow, I just got off live with the real Monica Adams. What a wonderful experience. I don't watch news because of all the negativity that it brings and the way it drives me emotionally to a place I don't really like to feel. So to be a part of a show that has a sole purpose of bringing positivity to the community, and then with the desire to just build people up, it has been one of the greatest joys, one of the greatest experiences that I've had a chance to be a part of when it comes to being a guest. This studio, it is fantastic. As I watched my show before I came in, I saw the lighting and I was impressed by the way this room is lit, but it is so warm and comforting to be in here. Whether you're a guest or a viewer, this show is a must watch, a must be a part of, and just continue doing great things out there, Monica. You are changing lives every day.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, we're in the wrap-up of the show, so be sure to go back to this one and share this like crazy with your family, with your friends, with your followers. If you want to do it, again, privately and just pass along the information to Legacy Physical Therapy, I think it's very, very smart. But the more we talk about these things, the better off you will all be. All ages, men and women alike. Okay, the back pain and the hip pain, these are aha moments. So that could be created by our pelvic floor, this and hernia were the two that stood out to me the most.
Yes. So a common group of patients that we see at our office are people who have been dealing with chronic back pain or chronic hip pain.
Sure.
And they start running down the list of, like, I've tried acupuncture and chiropractic, and I've gone to orthopedic physical
yoga.
therapy, stretching, massage, and some of it helps some, but it never fully gets rid of it. It's still there. And when we ask, has anyone ever, looked at your pelvic floor or asked you about pelvic floor symptoms or bowel or bladder stuff, they're like, no, that's not related. And it's like, actually, it really is very much related. So as I talked about earlier in the show, we talk really heavily about that core canister. So the pelvic floor is the bottom of the can, the abdominal and the back muscles are the sides of the can, and the diaphragm's the top of the can. And so if those muscles aren't all coordinating together well, we can have issues anywhere in the canister. So sometimes it shows up as bowel or bladder or sexual function issues. Other times it can show up as back pain or hip pain or buttocks pain. But we don't think of that as related to the pelvic floor because we tend to have this kind of disconnected thought that like, oh, the pelvic floor is this thing that we just put over here and talk about separately, but it's not separate. It's part of our whole system there.
I think the most fascinating thing about medicine, and I see a lot of it more so when you go to like an Eastern culture medicine doctor, you go to acupuncture, you'll say, I've got a pain here, and then they'll go, let's use acupuncture for a second, and then they'll take those needles, or they're really called wires, and they'll put them somewhere else, and you're like, why is that in my foot when my pain's over here, right?
Yeah.
So it is, what's the root cause of it? We have to figure that out, then going directly to that pain area.
Yeah.
So you said glute also?
Yeah.
Like if somebody had a piriformis issue, could that all?
Oh, yeah.
Wow! Ding, ding, ding.
Yep, the piriformis is one of them that
Interesting.
the pelvic floor interacts quite regularly with. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, folks, I'm telling you right now, if there's two big things I would take from today's show, besides because of fact, we're really trying to have you all understand so many levels of people that should go. But today we talked about hernia. We talked about men, even though you're all thinking, oh, well, yeah, women would go. Now we're talking back pain and hip pain. So as they're hearing this and saying, okay, that sounds like me.
Yeah.
That's me. You just described me. Why don't you all just put me as a comment? Me, that's me. Then what's the first step they take?
The first step is just calling our office. Annie and Carolyn are there to answer the phone and really listen to you and learn a little bit more about what's going on with you so that they can pair you up with one of our wonderful therapists that's going to match well with you. And at our office, we offer what we call a free discovery session, which, because we realize you might have no idea what pelvic physical therapy is and what it might entail. And so it is a time for you to come in and chat with one of our therapists, tell them about what's going on with you so we can learn a little bit more about what's going on so that we can tell you how we might be able to help you out so you can make an informed decision of if this is the route you want to go,
right?
And how you want to proceed.
How many therapists do you have?
And it's myself and 4 other therapists there.
Can they request you specific?
They can. Okay. My schedule is a little bit more limited as the owner, so I don't necessarily have as much availability. We have some therapists who are there full-time seeing patients and that, but they can put in a request for me as well.
But keep in mind, she wouldn't bring anybody in her practice because, again, this is her brand, this is her name. She wouldn't have anybody there that wouldn't be able to take care of you to the same level as her. So understand that. You are all probably going, yeah, but I like her. I want her to take care of me.
We are all super friendly and nice there, and I've trained all of my therapists, and we work great together as a team, and we love working with everyone together.
Did you all dress up for Halloween, by the way?
Those of us who were in the office on Friday did dress up. We have one person who's quite the Taylor Swift fan, so we went for the Taylor Swift era's albums.
Oh, did you?
Different ones, yes.
What were you?
I was the Fearless album.
She is fearless.
Yeah. So it was fun.
There you go. There's the picture for you. Okay, I didn't even know you had that ready. I just happened to think of Halloween. Okay, as we wrap up, there are 2 events coming up. One is this Thursday, and then you have one next week. So what is on tap for this Thursday? You're pairing up with chiropractic?
Yep. So this Thursday, I'm pairing up with Official Chiropractic in Sunset Hills, and the event is at their location. We are talking about how chiropractic and pelvic PT can be part of your birth team to help you really optimize your pregnancy and labor and delivery and postpartum recovery. And then next Monday at Legacy Physical Therapy, Monday evening, we're having trainer Erin Sievers from Alloy Fitness, who's in our same shopping center. She's coming down and talking about the importance of strength training through the lifespan. And I love how she says that it's not just about living, it's about your play span. How long can you play and stay active? And so we are all about integrating pelvic health into whole body health.
Play span. I like that. I want to be in play to the last day I'm on earth.
There you go.
So this is it. Okay, so for those of you that just tuned in and you're like, okay, so this is me from a physical therapy standpoint. Is it out of pocket? She mentioned earlier, whatever your physical therapy benefits are. So why would you not take advantage of this? If you're dealing with any of these things, and I'm sure there's much more we haven't even touched on that she would think, oh, yep, I also deal with this. I can help this. I can help that. Think about that. Don't keep living with it. So we go back to, again, it's on their shirts. It may be common, but it's not normal. So you don't have to live with it. Men and women both, I want you to spread this show along. Tell people if you might even want to go back and just listen to it instead of watching. Listen and absorb the message so that we can help you moving forward. One more time, it's Legacy Physical Therapy. Find them online. Go and follow them on social media and get that aha moment. Or better yet, go to some of these events that they have so that you can ask those questions. One more time to make your appointment is 636-225-3649. Dr. Kalisiak, by the way, will be back with us. I think, did we say December 1st? I think it's December 1st. I don't have my calendar. I think, guys, let me know if that's a Monday. I'm pretty sure it's December 1st. Do you know what we're talking about that day? Probably not yet. Not just yet.
No.
I will put this out there to all of you. Yes? Yes,
All
okay,
right,
it's
there you
December 1st. So, is there a topic that you would like Dr. Kalisiak to discuss? Feel free to shoot me or her a message and say, hey, on the next show in December, can you talk about this? Over the next several weeks, be thinking about, well, I wonder if this pain that I deal with, or again, whatever it may be that's going on in your body, I wonder if it is tied to the pelvic floor. You might be surprised. Let's just say that. Okay, what do you think they need freedom from? 100 Days to Freedom from fear and anxiety, from anger, depression, shame, or overeating.
I'll go with fear and anxiety.
Okay, we're going to be done with that one in 10, well, if it continues to get picked, 10 more days. Fear and anxiety, 100 days to freedom from fear and anxiety. And then I'll tell you about our guest for tomorrow. If you're a Run DMC fan, by the way, It's Tricky. That's my favorite song by them. We've got a tie to Run DMC that's going to be on Wednesday's show. I'll tell you all about that, so don't go anywhere.
When you want to feel good, you work out at Crunch. You don't go here, because here feels bad. But here we help you feel good, feel strong, feel rejuvenated.
Join Crunch Fitness today.
When you want to feel good, you work. You don't go here, because here feels bad. But here we help you feel good, feel strong, feel rejuvenated.
Join Crunch Fitness today.
Once again, welcome back. We are in the wrap-up. We were congratulating Dr. Kalisiak earlier, by the way, for her 215-pound squat, and she said that she has been working towards that over the last year. I want you all to understand that you don't just do that and strain, right? You prepare for that. So she's been lifting heavy and just loves how she feels. Okay, so she chose 100 Days to Freedom from Fear and Anxiety. We're on day 89. This one's called Get Moving. When we were at Mount Sinai, the Lord our God said to us, quote, "You have stayed at this mountain long enough. It's time to break camp and move on." This is Deuteronomy 1, verses 6 and 7. Stuck. It's a difficult place to be. We were talking about constipation. Stuck, okay? We can get there through many different roads with names like fear, worry, loss, and control. What would your road name be? Oh, that's a good one. What would your road name be? Sometimes the place we are stuck is comfortable. It's familiar. It's safe, which doesn't sound like a bad place. However, the place called stuck is exactly that. It's fixed. It's immovable. It's trapped. It seems like you would want to stay in a place of comfort, right? That's what the Israelites thought after following Moses into the desert on their journey to the promised land. They were headed in the right direction, but at some point they got comfortable. Well, God has something better in mind. Have you gotten stuck in your anxieties, not sure of what direction to take in your life? You may have made yourself as comfortable as possible in order to settle down your fear, which sort of makes sense. Why would anyone want to feel anxious or afraid? The challenge is that you can get stuck in your life depending on your own strength to journey through life. God has more for you, a place of freedom and purpose. He'll lead you and provide direction for a life that is full and actually free. So will you get moving? Not making a decision is actually a decision. It's a decision to stay the same. Just because God's path isn't always understandable doesn't mean it's not the right path. And if we wait until we're ready, we'll be waiting for the rest of our lives. You've heard that one before, probably. Lemony Snicket. Here's today's prayer. Lead me, Lord. I'll follow. Help me to recognize where I'm stuck and lead me to the place that you ultimately have planned for me. Help me to live my life for your purpose and experience the freedom you died for me to have. I trust you. That's a big one, though. I trust you with my life. Amen to that. We have 10 more, well, I say days, but 10 more choices to pick this book before hopefully we've given you freedom from one of the biggest that everybody deals with, 100 Days of Freedom from Fear and Anxiety. Tomorrow's going to be a popular show. Have you ever heard of Pastor David Hawkins? You have?
Yeah.
He's with Living the Word Church, which is in Illinois. He is an incredible pastor. He's been a guest at The Crossing, which is where I first met him. He is back with us tomorrow, and such a great time because we're going to talk about the revival. I pulled up at The Crossing in Fenton on Sunday and was in overflow parking. Me and another guy, we both got out of our cars, and I'm like, what is happening? I thought, was there something I missed that is going to be here today, some big special guests? No, but that's what's happening. More and more people are packing churches. More and more people are buying Bibles for the first time ever or opening it for the first time in decades. Do you feel the revival? Do you feel the movement? He and I are going to talk about that tomorrow. And then Run DMC. I'm interested to hear what are some of your favorite Run DMC songs. For me, it's tricky. I just absolutely love that one. My Adidas I also like. We're going to talk with their security man. But it's what he's doing and what their organization is doing for foster children. You think about the kids that have to quickly rush out of a house and, they're going through DFS and they're grabbing trash bags filled with their stuff. Can you imagine? How that would mentally make you feel of everything being thrown into a trash bag? The simplest thing of giving them luggage, giving them socks, giving them underwear. It's called My Life in a Bag. It's an incredible foundation. And so we're going to talk with him coming up on Wednesday. So some really great shows to come. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in this morning. Remember what we always ask you, and that is to get out of your way, show kindness to each other, whether it's friends or it's somebody brand new that you meet, because that's the greatest thing you can do in life. Be kind. God bless you.